So now we're on to making colors with Terra Sigillatas, and there's just endless possibilities in this area of it. And so like have fun and experiment and go nuts after you get this information. My art nerd background loves a monochromatic color scale, and so doing line blends is a super fun place to be. And so what we're going to talk about first, though, is that you can make colors by adding colorants. You can make colors by blending base Terra Sigillatas. And then there will be one more way after we do the line blend to talk about how to make colors. So blending base Terra Sigillatas give you another set of colors that don't involve adding oxides or carbonates, which will be up in the next slide. What it means is, so the two that we have in the studio today with us, the OM4 and the Redart, you can experiment with combining them in different quantities to produce a range, in this case, of peaches to red tones. And it's a fun way to take advantage, in some cases, of the quality of one Terra Sigillata, like OM4 is really smooth, forgiving, and pick up on the advantages of the redness and the richness of color of the Redart base. Grolleg is one that I blend a lot because, as I mentioned earlier, it peels a lot. And so if I blend it with OM4, I get the beautiful qualities of Grolleg being highly burnishable, but also less likely to flake because of it being mixed. This is just a sample chart of how you could mix them half and half, etc. There will be one in a little bit later that I'll show you that I used to kind of give that example. I've experimented with like 7/8 cup of one and 1/8 cup of another, just because it sounded like a good combo, and it was beautiful, soft peach. So you never know. These are just the starts. So colored Terra Sigillata is just a base Terra Sigillata that has a colorant added to it. Example colorants are carbonates, oxides, commercial stains, or even underglazes. I've experimented with Amico velvet underglazes specifically and had some luck with those. They tend to be a little paler than they would be if you're just using them plain, but they can be a way to add color. And the way that we do recipes for colored Terra Sigillatas is it's colored, the recipe is given an amount per 1 cup of liquid Terra Sigillata in the way that I teach. So I would measure out 1 cup of liquid sig, and I might add something like 1/8 a teaspoon of something else, and you'll see that as we do some things. Important, once you add colorant, your specific gravity measurement changes, and that's because those colorants have their own weight and density. So things you can do then is you could measure what it is right after you add the colorant so that you have kind of a range if you want to keep that measurement really tight in your studio to know. And you could, or you can just say it's going to be different and that's okay and let it be. The reason somebody might want to know what that specific gravity is things will evaporate if you have them in your studio long enough. Terra Sigillatas, you can re-wet them and use them again. To get them back to the right amount of specific gravity, that's kind of a guessing game to an extent after it's been dried, but you can still work with it. So for the process of making line blends, I'm really methodical about this because it helps keep things consistent. And then if you get interrupted, you have a system to go back to. So the system that I'm recommending, I'll kind of run you through it today so you can get there. And I'll show you mine in here, but you'll prepare labels for your container. I just most often use like a mailing label from, you know, like the sticky kind that you use for mailing letters. You get those labels affixed to your containers before you start adding the sig. Cover them with tape if you need to protect them. I'm a little sloppy, so things tend to like fall over top, so I always protect them. And then the specific amounts will be next. But the information that you want to include on your label is the base Terra Sigillata that you used, the amount of colorant that you added, and which colorant. And so a sample label at the bottom would look like OM4 base plus 1/4 teaspoon of cobalt carbonate. I often use the COCO3 abbreviation just because I know what that means, and then it's less writing. So that's why I do that.